Silas wakes up in his white apartment, takes a shower, and gets dressed. His closet is filled with several sets of identical white clothes. Along with others, mostly dressed in white, he goes to work, politely letting a woman go ahead in the subway. The system recognizes his face, name, occupation, and destination. Silas works as an illustrator at Atmos. On his way, he watches an advertisement from the collective, advising everyone to check for SOS if they experience heightened sensitivity, are exhausted, or have trouble concentrating. At work, Silas is busy creating another illustration for a movie, while a background video plays. The video narrates how bombs dropped over 28 days destroyed 99.6% of the Earth's habitable land, changing humanity's life forever. This catastrophe is known as the Great War. Only 2 land areas survived, the collective and a peninsula to the west. These wild, untouched lands have nothing but ruins and are inhabited by a barely studied primitive people known as defects, who are guided by emotions and instincts, long-forgotten remnants of the past. People in the collective call themselves equals. After a meeting, Silas has lunch outdoors with his colleagues. During the meal, he hears that one of his colleagues has returned from fertilization and has given birth to a defect, though she was not ill. The woman shared this with everyone. At the end of the workday, Silas takes the subway home. Near his home, he sees 2 citizens detained by the authorities, who are much more emotional than others. An official says the detainees are in safe hands and advises everyone to mind their own business. Silas goes up to his apartment, has dinner, and assembles puzzles, just like his neighbors do for entertainment. The next morning, on his way to work, Silas sees news about the arrest of 2 violators engaged in joint actions, the same people he saw the previous evening. The violators were sent to the Emotional Deviation Center for Suppression of Feelings. This case is a vivid example of defective behavior. The couple poses a danger to themselves and others. Physical contact, touch, and emotional expression are signs of SOS infection. People with SOS symptoms should immediately report to the security service. Only together can the equals combat this disease. Silas continues working on his movie. A video says that on the peninsula where defects live, there are no modern advanced technologies. The collective has established a guarded border for general security. At this moment, a person falls to their death from a roof behind Silas. Silas's colleagues calmly discuss the incident and hope someone will come to clean up. Silas is the only one who notices an emotional reaction from a girl named Nia. Later that evening, watching a spacecraft land on Titan 14, Silas sees her again, and she reacts emotionally. Arriving home, he suddenly starts to taste food. The next morning, he perceives the shower differently than usual. Then, he gets distracted during a meeting, falls asleep on the sofa at home, not in bed, and has a nightmare. The next morning, he decides to see a doctor. In line, he hears a message that there is no cure for SOS despite all scientific efforts. By stage 4, patients completely lose control of their emotions. A man named Jonas sitting next to him admits he's at stage 2. Silas says he's just there for a checkup, and Jonas wishes him luck. Silas is diagnosed with stage 1 SOS. He asks if he could have been infected by his colleague who gave birth to a defect. The doctor explains that SOS is not contagious. Silas is prescribed inhibitors to live a normal life as long as possible until the disease reaches stage 4. Then he will be placed in EON. Now, the subway recognition system indicates that Silas has stage 1 of the disease. He returns to work and hides from his colleagues that he went to the hospital. His lie is almost exposed, but Nia confirms his story. At lunch, he watches her closely, feeling more interested in her. In the evening, Silas listens to information about the disease and starts taking pills. Despite this, his condition worsens. He develops severe photophobia, his drawings become emotional, and he almost cries. In the bathroom, he encounters Nia and then follows her home. The next day, Silas switches with a colleague to work with Nia. He brings her an illustration and begs her to look at it and make corrections. While she does, Silas watches her and barely listens. At night, he returns to work and plays an audio recording of Nia's voice. During a meeting, Silas accidentally spills coffee on himself and drops his hidden sunglasses. This becomes a sign for the others, and Silas admits he has SOS. The disease is not contagious, but if it makes others more comfortable, he's willing to wear a mask at work. Nia says a mask is unnecessary, but suggests Silas sit separately from the rest of the department at lunch and have his own mug. Colleagues agree and remind him that a cure will be found soon. In the evening, Silas again follows Nia, but she notices and demands he stop or she will report it. Silas suggests that Nia is also ill, presents his arguments, but she denies everything. They continue to work together. Silas continues to observe Nia, and Nia secretly watches him. Late one evening, when everyone leaves, they meet in the bathroom, where they are drawn to each other and hug. Such behavior is not typical for equals. Nia tells him that she has been sick for over a year but didn't go to the doctor because she knows no one can help. The medication scares her, and the fate of the sick is unfair because they can't live normal lives. She has to pretend she feels nothing. If they are caught together, both will be sent to EON to certain death. They should stop meeting and just wait for the cure. Silas asks her to stay with him a little longer, and they kiss. Silas and Nia regularly stay late at work to be together, hiding in the restroom. One evening, Silas runs into the manager. He informs him that security tracked Silas accessing Nia's interface during non-working hours a month ago. The manager suspects Silas is stalking Nia and poses a danger to her. The next day, Silas tells Nia that the manager suspects them. Nia suggests they stop meeting, but Silas knows he can't pretend nothing is between them if he sees Nia every day. He decides to quit Atmos. Nia doesn't respond and leaves silently, crying alone. Silas also struggles with the breakup. He leaves Atmos, explaining to management that he wants to minimize contact with people due to his illness, for the common good. Instead of his prestigious illustrator position, Silas becomes a simple gardener. His replacement at work is a new illustrator, and listening to him at lunch, Nia suddenly feels a panic attack. She takes Silas's discarded mug and sits with it for a long time. She starts working slower, which the new illustrator notices. One evening in the medication line, Silas meets Jonas. He suggests a walk. During the walk, Silas says he misses Nia and that they were happy together. Jonas approves of his decision to leave. Life with SOS is unbearable for the couple. Jonas reveals he's part of a support group where SOS patients can openly talk about their feelings. Silas decides to try it. In the group, he meets Bess, Peter, Thomas, Gil, Max, and Alice. From Bess, who works in healthcare, he learns that more than half of EON patients can't bear it and end their suffering themselves. Silas's colleagues calmly discuss the incident and hope someone will come to clean up. Silas is the only one who notices an emotional reaction from a girl named Nia. Later that evening, watching a spacecraft land on Titan 14, Silas sees her again, and she reacts emotionally. Arriving home, he suddenly starts to taste food. The next morning, he perceives the shower differently than usual. Then, he gets distracted during a meeting, falls asleep on the sofa at home, not in bed, and has a nightmare. The next morning, he decides to see a doctor. In the evening, Nia unexpectedly visits Silas at his home, having another panic attack, but Silas calms her down. They kiss and spend the night together. In the morning, Silas says he never imagined how strange love is, like a little wild tornado. He admits he wants to run away with her. They decide to continue working as usual and meet at night as long as they can. For a while, the lovers maintain their relationship, discussing their past, favorite school subjects, and childhood. Love also helps them work faster and more productively than before. But one morning, on his way to work, Silas sees a news story about the creation of a long-awaited cure for SOS, a special implant. It is placed in the neck, then the drug takes 6 hours, and the disease is completely neutralized. The implants are already being delivered to hospitals. Nia sees the same news broadcast. They meet, and she bitterly says that feelings cannot be forgotten. Silas decides it's not the end, they won't go through with the implants. He doesn't want to be treated for SOS and Nia admits she doesn't want it either. Silas brings her to a support group meeting and says they both want to go to the peninsula, where the defects live. Jonas reveals that he once worked in the air patrol and saw the peninsula from afar. It's a deaf forest. If anyone lives there, it's in the wild. The couple is not deterred, even if they will be completely alone. If they stay here, they will be found out and given the medicine. Bess tells a story from many years ago when she was sick with SOS, a young man with the same symptoms lived in her residential block. One day he said he was going to the peninsula with friends and invited Bess, but she refused because she was sure it was impossible to survive there. Of all the deaths Bess has seen in her life, the death of this young man upset her the most because it was foolish and unnecessary. Nia suggests that the young man might have survived, but Bess has no answer. Max thinks it's too risky to help Silas and Nia. If they are caught, it will lead back to the group meetings. Jonas says the couple won't be able to return if they leave the collective, but they are both ready for it. Some time later, Silas meets Jonas in the park. The man gives him the name of someone who can take them to the peninsula and wishes them luck. Silas finds the nearest city to the border, but the train there is only in 3 days. The next day, when Nia enters the subway, the identifier recognizes her and issues a summons for fertilization procedure. She hurries to tell Silas. He asks her not to go, as they are leaving in just 2 days. Nia objects, her code is blocked, she won't be able to board the train or pass any checkpoint. She says doctors will find out about the disease by doing a blood test. Silas reassures her, being diagnosed doesn't mean she'll be treated, they'll just refer her to a doctor, nothing will change. They leave on Saturday. Nia agrees with him and goes to the hospital. There, the doctor discovers that Nia is not sick, but pregnant. She is detained by security officers and immediately placed in ION. Upon learning this, Silas asks Jonas to meet with him and do something. Jonas advises not to show emotion and to go home immediately, waiting for him there. He promises to contact Bess, as only she can help. Silas reluctantly complies. He spends a sleepless night. Meanwhile, having received information from Jonas, Bess enters Nia's ward and sees she is at stage 4 of the disease. Bess brings Nia to consciousness and, with the help of other support group members, takes her out of the intensive care ward. Bess tells about a deceased patient with SOS named Eva. Then they help her fake death, switching identity codes with Eva. Now Eva is considered alive, and Nia dead. Nia escapes from ION and runs to Silas's apartment, but doesn't find him there. Silas, on the street, sees news about a security problem at ION. One of the security staff, Max, who also attended the group meeting, agreed to an implant, cured of SOS, and betrays his friends. Bess, Jonas, and Gil are now also cured of emotions. Realizing that the plan to save Nia might have failed, Silas goes to ION, inquires about the girl's condition. He is told that she is dead. Stricken with grief, the young man cries on the street. And then nearly ends his own life. But afterwards, he goes to the hospital, where he receives an implant that is supposed to rid him of any emotions. Returning to the apartment, Silas finds Nia alive and realizes he made a mistake. They have about 5 hours left before the medicine takes effect and all symptoms of SOS disappear, along with their love. Nia tries to calm him, reminding that she is still pregnant, so the rest doesn't matter. In the morning they will get on the train and leave, but Silas must try to fight the medicine as long as he can, or at least remember everything he feels now. Silas asks her to promise to love him, even when he stops feeling, and never to leave him. Nia does not give such a promise, repeatedly saying how much she loves him. The next morning, when Nia doesn't wake up, she sees Silas, already completely emotionless. He dishonestly says he remembers how he loved her, remembers their escape plan, but only memories of love remain. Nonetheless, he is still ready to leave, as they decided. Separately, not attracting attention, the couple gets on the train that will take them to the border. In the carriage, they also sit apart from each other. Nia remembers everything that connected her with Silas and struggles greatly with the loss of his feelings. At some point, the young man, who had been watching her from a distance, sits next to her and touches Nia's hand. She looks at him and tightly squeezes his hand in response.